Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Going into Drop Frames here. A little bit shorter in part two because we watched the entirety of the Baldur's Gate 3 stream. And then we're also, at least I'll be covering with Lexi and Elspeth the Nintendo stuff coming up here in about an hour when we go live. I think that's in an hour and a half, 90 minutes from the start of this if you are watching live. Anyways, let's talk about the games we've been playing and see if there's any big news to discuss in the short time that we have. Co, you continued on the Valheim. Everything good? Are you done with
Yeah,
it? Did you finish it?
I
Finish
am
it?
winding down. I am on the. I've been doing this rather extravagant build that I decided to undertake.
Sure.
I am currently on the last section. So I've done a trophy hall, a bedroom, a lighthouse, a great hall, portal room, a boathouse, a workshop, a courtyard, and I'm currently finishing the outer wall. And then I'm going to make a couple gatehouses for that. And then I have to find the fifth boss and kill it, and I'm done. So we're getting there.
All
I'm
right.
at 116 hours on this run.
116
And
hours.
yep, 116 hours. And I have been absolutely infatuated and loving every second of it. This game is, like I've been saying, the best value of 2021 by far. And what's even crazier is, according to how things are looking, this is like half of the content they want to put in the game, essentially, because they're saying there's going to be 9 bosses by the time they're done. There's
Wow,
already
wow.
2 entire biomes in the game that don't have like crafting or tiers associated with them, the Mistlands, the volcanic area. And they've got a roadmap out already with like Hearth and Home, which people are expecting like big updates to building and such like that. Cult of the Wolf, which I don't think anyone has any idea what that means.
Hmm.
Maybe they're going to add in like humanoid enemies or something, or some kind of new enemy / thing. And then a sea update where they're going to be doing stuff for the ocean, and people are assuming like new ships and things of that nature. There's only like 3 ships, and they kind of end in the mid tier right now. So
Mm.
it's looking really good, man. Like this game is a lot of fun,
Yeah.
and I just keep like making new goals and finding things to do, and pretty great.
Yeah. I've spent, what does Steam say? I think like 10 hours or so with it. Yeah, 8.9 hours. Yeah. And I will echo, because I think it's the truest way to talk about it. It is like the culmination of survival games. In
Mhm.
that regard, like it's a good version of that. Um, the building stuff is a little bit finicky. Specifically the land elevation. That definitely took a little bit of time to like figure out for me.
There's tricks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And I would assume that stuff will probably get looked at over time. But everything apart from that was like what I wanted from a survival game.
Hey, I really like what Sergeant Johnson, love the name, just said in chat. This game is to survival like Hades is to roguelites. That is a great way to say it.
Yeah,
It's doing everything that's been done before, but it's doing a ton of unique stuff that's as well, and it's pushing the whole genre forward. That's a great way to say that.
for sure. It's also selling really
Here's my
fucking
haul
well.
and everything.
Oh my god,
So
jeez.
we kind of went a little wild with the build. But man, it's been fun. It's been so fun. And what's cool is the last big thing I have to do is furnish it. So like I've been making all these kind of skeletal buildings and stuff on the inside, but I haven't really gone through and like actually decorated it with like trophies and torches and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Is
it's
this
gonna be
all
fun.
you doing it on your own, or are people helping? Like,
Solo player on a solo server. This has been all me.
Yeah.
Lot of farming.
As someone who's also only played solo Zeke, there is like, at least not initially, but I did once I hit the I don't know, the copper, when you have to start getting tin and bronze, it does get a little bit of like, oh my god, I need so much of X, and it like that starts. But I think if you're playing with people, that goes pretty quick, or at least it's sped up. Solo, you do a lot of this. You drag a lot of cart around and put a lot of shit in that cart, and then drag it back to base type scenario.
Also, it's important to mention my build is paltry in comparison to many of the builds I've seen on community servers. Like there
Oh,
are entire Viking towns on some of these servers, like with like a giant castle at the head.
dang.
There's been some really impressive things built. This game has a really great Reddit. In fact, I really gotta give a shout out to the Reddit mods of Valheim.reddit.com. There's like no trash posting. It's just people like posting their builds, and there's a really cool way. I actually made a tutorial on this today. You can activate a fly camera in this game very easily in like less than 10 seconds. It lets you just free cam wherever you want, and they even have mouse smoothing, so you can make it so it super easily glides back and forth. And people have been making like big videos of their builds and stuff, and there's some really creative folks in the community of this game. For sure.
Awesome. Yeah, I might have to check that out. Are we getting like, are they rebuilding the Lord of the Rings towns yet? Or is it too small scale for that shit?
I don't. The thing is as useful and cool as the building system is, it is missing like a lot of things that current day ones are missing. Like it doesn't have capstones, for centralized buildings. There's no real curving of any kind, and the angular stuff is really restricted. So that's why you're seeing like almost everything in my build is like either triangles or squares.
Yeah.
Of course, this may be exactly what they're adding in the Hearth and Home stuff, which is what a lot of people are speculating. So you may see this kind of stuff come in the future. But there are certainly like big ass cities being built. However, I have heard that in some cases it causes performance issues. So we'll kind of see how that develops.
This doesn't look. This is a lot busier than what my room, let's say, was. What type of FPS are you getting in this? At this point,
perfect.
like 60 to 80 or something?
Yeah, on my build, is relatively large, and it is I've had zero performance issues with my build at all. Like there's no like you get close and things start going slow, nothing like that at all.
Cool. Well, that's Valheim. It sold at least last week. It might have already done 3 million. They just haven't talked about it. It sold 2 million already. And so it's obviously doing very well.
The top game on Steam. It actually took the top game on Steam spot.
Yeah. Everyone keeps saying like, oh yeah, this was in the PC gaming show last year. And I'm pretty sure when I saw it, I was like, oh, that looks like a survival game. And then that was it. We just skipped past it. Then it came. It
really didn't catch my eye.
Yeah, just came out of nowhere. So it's cool to see that type of stuff. We'll definitely keep our eye on it.
Real quick to address this in chat. This is made by a dev called Iron Gate Studios. It was published by Coffee Stain Studios. Many people know them from Satisfactory. Coffee Stain is the publisher of this one, not the dev like on Satisfactory. And Coffee Stain Studios started exceptionally small. I want to say one guy for a little bit, but I think the team grew out to 4-ish people who have been working on the project since then. From what I understand, there's a lot of industry experience on the team, which is one of the reasons the project is actually moving along. And the entire game, I think, has been like mainly made in the last couple years, which speaks very highly to the fact that the roadmap looks like it could really happen, at a pretty brisk pace. So, yeah, looking good. 5-man work, chat saying 5-man. Okay.
Dang. Well, good for those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll keep an eye on that. I'm sure we'll start to see more and more news as that stuff gets announced, as well as how many fucking copies they're going to sell. Because it seems like it's doing quite well. And we'll probably...
At $20, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
And they've announced it's going to be more expensive one day. So they're probably going to pull a Hades. Yes, they're probably going to pull a Hades, which is getting normal. I think Subnautica Below Zero is doing the same thing. And they're going to say like, at some point the game will become like probably $30 or maybe even $40, depending. So if you are interested, now is the time to pick it up, I'd say.
Cool.
$20 is a steal for this game. If you like survival building, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Get a couple friends in there. It could be a lot of hours for $20 for sure. Zeke, you wanted to know about GTA RP. I picked up.
This is your first time doing it, right?
It is, yeah. I was always hesitant in the past because I feel like, and I think it's not necessarily a feeling anymore. It is tested and tried and tested. The whole aspect of GTA RP and specifically like NoPixel 3.0, it's literally just who you play with and if you find fun playing with those people. Because like you stand around and have a conversation. And so like if you're not having fun having a conversation with that person, you're not going to have fun ultimately.
It's improv.
It's literally improv, the server. Yeah. And you definitely have to play with people that are interested in the yes and theory of improv and follow those type of people around. I also think that there is a let's just call it a magnetic pull to the people with large viewership, which if you are someone with large viewership, saying 10s to 20,000s to higher than that, that fun will find you. If you're not, you have to find that fun. And so that is maybe like one of the bigger issues, at least that I had streaming it, is like, it's also a weird thing if you have any sense of social anxiety, or you just don't want to like approach people and like start a conversation, you're kind of just like walking around and like not really doing anything. They have put things in 3.0 that you can go and do, like you can go and hunt, you can go and fish, you can go and they have like different things in the game where they've set up things where you can go and steal from certain houses, and then you can go and trade that into a vendor that they've set up and get money for that. There's different places you can work at, but in order to get said job, they either have to be accepting employees, they being an actual person who runs that store. And so you actually, you have to go in there and say like, hey, I want to work here. How do I apply? All that type of stuff. And then you have to see like what shifts are open. And so that's kind of like NoPixel in a nutshell. I didn't have a bad time at all. I had a lot of fun playing with it. I just don't know if I'll go back to it, because it is the type of thing where it's like, if you don't have a core group of people to play with, or at least that that you're going to interact with, it's kind of just like walking around and like having slight interactions with people. Unless you're super open to it.
And don't let me speak for you here, JP, but I wanted to cover something that was brought up in my chat.
Sure.
Like when JP is saying that what you do is basically stand around and talk to people, he's not saying there isn't a shit ton to do in GTA RP. There's literally hundreds of things to do, but you need to have goals to want to do those things.
Right.
And the main content of these RP servers is to stand around and have interactions and have comedy and like stuff like that. Like, there's a lot to do, but I mean, you're there to role play a character. That's totally the meat of the game. It's like the main story in an RPG. Like that's the purpose, and all that other stuff is just supporting for that.
Yeah.
So if you're not having fun doing that, then all that other stuff doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
Like, that's all just there to make that meat, something more enjoyable and more immersive. Most importantly, it's role playing.
Yeah,
so.
For sure. And I've probably watched, I don't know, 10 to 15 hours of it on Twitch itself, and had more fun doing that because the streamers that I watched, like I said, had that magnetic pull, if you will, of people wanting to interact with them. And if you don't have that, then it's definitely the type of thing where like you either have to play that like
going
do
on,
this shit.
right?
Yeah, for some reason they were so that's Cinnamon Toast Ken there on the left. He was playing a guy named Chuck. That's NMP. They're wearing the shorts, and then that's another person by the name of his character's name's Moon. I think he's one of the older characters on the server as well. This is the impound lot, so again, you can run a you can get a like a trucker and go and pull up cars that are just left out in the middle of nowhere. And all of this stuff, like you said, it is meant to create a social interaction, right? Because like if you go and take someone's car and you tow it illegally, or they come and like see you towing it, then of course there's going to be like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? And that type of stuff breaks down.
So if you run a business, say like a car impound or whatever,
yeah,
are you expected to be there at all times to handle the questions? Like,
and have employees.
Yeah, it's usually you have employees. It's not necessarily expected to be there. It's just you're expected to like play daily. A lot of times I had a really weird interaction the first day that I played. Me and Sips started out playing, and in order to fish, hunt, or I think have a gun legally, to do all of that legally, you can still do it illegally. You have to get a license. In order to get a license, you have to go to the courthouse and talk to a judge. And so we went to the courthouse, and in the courthouse, Sips in character started smoking. And this is, in front of a judge who's also in front of a cop, and we're smoking inside of a courthouse. Smoking relieves your stress. And so Sips was like, he didn't say
just
this
like in real life. Okay.
Yeah, he didn't say this in character, but he just like started smoking. It's because he was trying to relieve his stress. And the judge was like, okay, those two guys can leave. And Sips was like, well, and then he like put it out, and we were like, kind of joking, and apologized and moved forward and went to interact with him to get these licenses so that we could go fish, hunt, and have whatever legally. And I apologized and said, hey, we didn't, where we come from, that's the excuse we used. We can smoke and blah, blah, blah. He goes, yeah, I come back tomorrow. And we're just kind of like, okay. All right. We just left. So then we had to go do that shit illegally. And so like, that was a really weird first impression. Like day one on the server is just like a complete wall of progression just shut down because he smoked, but I get it. But it was also the type of thing where it's like, well, we can't do this shit legally, so I guess we're going to go do it illegally. And so we went and fished.
Yeah, it's a little hard when you have role players that like do this all the time.
Right.
So like tomorrow for them, they're in their mind, they're actually thinking like, okay, cool, they'll come back tomorrow and maybe I'll have like a whole RP set up for them by then. And, I'll remember them as those guys and stuff like that. But it's like, then you have kind of like the tourists that just jump in for a little bit. And it's like, yeah. I wonder what would have happened if you would have RP'd like, oh, well, we're going out of town tomorrow. Like, could you please let us, we won't be able to if we don't do it now. I wonder if you would have played along.
We stepped out of the building and we're kind of like, NRP, like, I guess we're just going to go, we'll call up Abdul, who's a taxi cab and a very nice taxi cab driver, also streamer, Abdul HD. And he's like, why don't you go in and like talk to him by yourself, apologize to him and see what happens. So I did that. And it was just, hey, come back tomorrow. And then I was like, well, I tried twice. I got shut down twice. He didn't really feel like interacting, I guess. Also, there was a network error. I don't know what else I could do. And so I just like left and we went and fished legally. But again, the fishing is like there to provide that interaction. So I guess I have to refresh the video here. The fishing was just, hey, you get on a boat, which we had to obtain illegally. You got into the middle of the water, you catch 20 fish, you come back, then you get a paycheck. And like, that's the fishing. So if it's not your cup of tea to go out there and like have a conversation while fishing with 3 other people or up to 3 other people, then it could be like pretty mundane, I guess is what I would say. That being said, I've watched, like I said, I want to say 15 to 20 hours. That might be an exaggeration of GTRP on Twitch. And it's been like some of my favorite streams that I've seen this year. Cause it's just the characters that exist, are absurd and they're super fun to watch. And like the different stories and all that stuff that you can follow, just from watching those streams is like a lot of fun. It's also the type of thing where could I jump on and like force myself into that narrative? Probably, but I know that I'm forcing myself into that narrative and that just feels gross to begin with of like, I know this person's over there and I know that this storyline exists. So like, yeah, I could go like weasel myself in there, but everyone's going to know that you're fucking doing that. Right. So like my own social anxiety comes into play. It's like, I'm not going to be that guy. I know what happens when that guy does that. It's fucking annoying. So I'm not going to be that person. I'm just going to watch it. And so that's probably where it'll end up with GTRP for me. I'll jump on maybe if Ken or Sips wants to run around, but like I'm not going to get on and just like play by myself and like insert myself into all these random storylines when I could just watch it on Twitch.
Have kind of an established guide to go with.
Yeah.
Someone who knows the lay of the land. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is one of those things that seems to me like it would be super fun for me to play not on stream. Because it seems like because I did a little bit of GTRP on my own. I did a couple of streams of it and it was super fun, but it also like it had so many like long periods of tedium,
right?
Which can be fun, like Valheim, like picking up rocks and moving the rocks to another place, like long periods of just doing shit like that, like doing my job or walking from one place to another and shit like that. It always seemed like as a streamer and entertainer, I wanted to always inject some excitement.
Yeah.
But with RP, it has to be in character. It has to be like justifiable and that kind of stuff. And I always have that in my mind. So like, would this character like just go up and light shit on fire? I was like, no. And if you are a firebug or whatever, that's your RP character, you're just going to go to fucking jail for however long and just be there.
Yeah.
If you want to play within the boundaries of the rules and shit.
Yeah, I
So
had that
like
same
long moments,
experience.
it's like poker. It's like long moments of nothing. You're just folding every hand, and then brief moments of like, all right, we're in. Let's go. Let's do some shit.
Yeah, yeah, I had the very same experience where like the tedium in between, doing whatever your goal was. If you
Yeah.
didn't do something out of character or like play for the fail, in the sense of like, perfect example, three people were jumping off of a pier to get to a boat faster. I jumped off in a spot that I knew I would land on the ground and it would be funny for them to interact and like have to call the EMT, but you have to almost play for that, and like not play to win. You have to play for like fun factor. And like some people get
Playing
that
for
and
the
some people don't.
content, JP. You're
Yeah,
playing for
I guess
the
for the
content.
content. There you go. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Something that like just confuses me about it. It's like there's some people there's a lot of people out there who are just like they get so much enjoyment from doing like a regular human person job, like like flipping burgers
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
like fucking collecting parking fees or whatever the fuck. It's just like that's my day, and that's like what I enjoy about it, and it just that kind of thing. Like I'm sure there's something out there like that I do, but I can't put my finger on it. Like it just seems like why would I jump into a fantasy world to do something mundane?
Sure.
You know what the best part is? The people that do that, Zeke, one of them is a lion tamer. One of them is an extreme mountain biker. One of them works on the power lines 500 feet above the ground. Like, I bet you that's like their escape. They're like, God, I just wish I did this all day.
Sure. I get that.
So
Yeah,
relaxing. Everything's fine.
But someone honestly said just in your chat, JP, I think something about there's a casino there.
Yeah, I guess the casino opened up like last night or the day prior or something like that. Yeah, I've not been in it.
That's something I could definitely get into.
Yeah, I'm not sure if like players are the dealers or like what part of it is, has the like social aspect of GTA RP in it. Because I haven't seen it. I haven't watched any streams of it in the past 24 or 48 hours. But yeah, like that type of stuff is where almost like the admins of the server, and they know this, but they almost have to serve as like a DM, right? To like create opportunities for this stuff to occur. And I think like the best streams of it that I've watched are the people that do that for others, is like create a storyline. Perfect example is there's a guy named Johnny Silverhands. I think his Twitch name is twitch.tv/burn. He plays a bunch of different characters. He plays like a Gordon Ramsay character. He plays like a Twitch chatter character. But he plays Johnny Silverhands, and like he walks around just constantly T-posing, and it sounds like exactly like Keanu Reeves. And so his storyline is that he is like battling Arasaka, and he'll go and just like create these different missions that he takes other people on in the server, and he'll like bug out to where he's just constantly like T-poses or something in game because there's a T-pose emote. And there's shit like that. And like, to me, that type of player is like, those are the people that you pay to have on this server because they create the content for everyone else to interact with. Granted, I don't think anyone's like being paid to play on the server, but if I were to like run one of these, I would seek those type of people out because they create the best content for it without question. And he's been super fun to watch.
I also never considered the idea of having multiple characters. Like I know the thing is like it didn't click in my brain. I know people have multiple characters.
Yeah.
But it didn't like register with me that like if one character isn't doing like, or you're kind of in a lull with that character, but there's like a fire that broke out or something, and one of your characters is a fireman.
Yeah.
Or like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or first responder or something like that. I think like, can you just like drop out and switch to that person and go like fight fires?
Yeah, you can totally do that. I think that there would be some sort of like you have to not meta it, right? Like you can't swap over to play a fighter if you know a fire is happening, because like that person wouldn't know. He'd be waking up in his apartment not knowing that the fire is going, so you'd have to go to the fire department, check in, see what everyone else is. Oh, there's a fire happening. Let's go to that fire. So you kind of can do things like that. I know that there are a bunch of people that like play. That's just a random mouse click there. That mouse one punches.
Yep.
There are people that play like a gangster type character, right? Like a criminal, and then also play a cop.
Yeah.
And they'll just go back and forth. Not necessarily the same day, but like one day they're going to do criminal, the next day they're going to do cop.
Right. Well, like my only like GTA RP experience, like I didn't tell the people on the server that's what I was going to do. I was like, I'm new to this, so like, I'll figure out as we go.
Yeah.
And what I ended up doing was getting into the criminal underbelly. And since I was the new kid on the street, I revealed like later in the whatever next stream that I was actually like hired as an undercover agent, and I got them all fucking arrested. It was great.
Yeah, that type of stuff is super fun for sure.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So, yeah,
that's what I'm saying. But that's like drug dealing. Like that's like the always excitement. Like my wonder is why doesn't everybody play a cop or a robber? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I think
someone's got to flip the burgers.
It's true. The burger shop.
I get it. Yeah.
The burger shop place is like a hotbed of activity / criminal wrongdoing. There's always 2 or 3 cops there. There's always 5 to 10 people there. It is a hot spot for just like social interactions of all types. So much so that like Soda Pop and RP that he hired like a private security, and then like they were charging people to park there, and it just like escalated to points where like the cops had to come out and like shut down the private security, and just like all these weird story threads happened. But it was fun. Like it wasn't as mundane as just like we're gonna flip burgers and sell them to people. They made it absurd and they made it fun, both to watch and to play in for sure. It's also the people that work at Burger Shop arguably make the most money in the game, more so than anyone else. That's just like going out and fishing. They're making like 10,000 a day from just like working all day long at the burger shop. So yeah, anyways, that's GTRP. I don't know. I feel like it's definitely if you haven't watched any streams on it on Twitch, it's definitely worth checking out just to kind of see what it's all about. But from my perspective,
I'm glad we talked about it.
Yeah.
It fascinates me. Like it really does. Like this more than anything, like seems like something I would like, but at the same time seems like something that if I was streaming it, I feel like I'd be just boring because I'd be RPing a real person.
Yeah.
Like in D&D, when you're role playing, you're role playing somebody who has fucking magic powers or some shit. Like, there's fantastical element to it.
There is
and also there's a DM like creating like the conflicts for you and shit.
There is a entire group, perhaps a gang of LARPers on the server. That is how they got started, was because they said they were D&D players, and there was a guy that said he was a level 4 cleric, and he would go like out of character to talk normally, and it was like a nerd living in his mom's basement type deal. So that exists in some fashion on the server, and they're like pretty much in the thick of it when it comes to like the main storyline on the server right now. So yeah.
Oh, and
it's absurd.
Just out of curiosity, like how hard was it to get into NoPixel? I mean, I know you have a recognizable name and stuff, but
you not only have to get into the
like
server,
pretty difficult.
And there's like lines to get into the different jobs and stuff in there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It wasn't, it was not that bad. I basically just said like, hey, I don't know what to do. How do I do this on Twitter? And then I woke up the next morning and I had, message this person, say that you want to play. I did. They said, great, here's this thing, go do that. I did that. And then I got on the server. Essentially you basically get like put into a Discord, and then you go and sign up through a couple different methods.
Okay.
And then like Ko said, there is a priority system on the server. And I didn't ask for it, but I think they just gave me like priority. So I haven't had any issues logging on, but anytime that I do log on, there's about a 50 person queue, and I think 50 is the max. And so it bumps me up to the front. And so it's like 1 of 52. I've seen that up to, at least on server resets, I've seen that up to like 113, but the servers now hold
that could take hours, couldn't it?
Yeah, if you don't have priority, it's pretty fucking awful. but I don't know like how they hand that out. I didn't request it. I just said, hey, I'd like to play. And then, yeah, I got on the server.
Wow.
But I think the servers now can hold 160 people at max, which is a lot more
Oh,
than
so 160 people at the same time playing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's,
Okay.
I think it's 160. It's pretty much full at all times of day that I've seen. Like you walk
I'd imagine
in,
like
there's just a fuck ton of people there.
I'd imagine it'd have to be that way for like you'd have to find a popular server. And I'm not just saying just NoPixel, but I'm saying like any popular server. Like you'd have to, in order to get the most enjoyment out of it, you'd have to have a lot of people on any given server.
Yeah. Yeah. Chat's pointing out that when you tried it, I guess the server cap was 32. So it has definitely grown. They've definitely increased the server size 4x at this point. So yeah. Anyways, that's it. We talked for 30 minutes. Zeke, what have you been playing so we can preview it for next week? What
I'm just started up Indie Week.
Okay.
Because CD Ramathon takes up the entire month of January.
Yeah.
I don't do indie Sundays. So in order to make up for that, I have collected 40 some odd indie games, and we are randomly selecting 8 each day that people can vote on, and we'll go through them. Some of them won't get played because that's just I don't have time. That's just the way shit goes.
The way of the road.
Yep.
But usually I get to about between 4 to 6 games per day, depending on how good they are and how much I like them or whatever. Some games will last a full 2 hours. 2 hours usually my hard cutoff. And some games will last 15 minutes because I'm like, you fuckers you voted for this. This is bullshit. I'm not playing it anymore. Next game,
Sure.
And that happens. Like there was a game that I thought I was like, all right, I was kind of iffy on it. And then I fired it up and I was like, I was iffy on this for a reason. Thank you for voting for it. It was because it was the most expensive game on the list. So like, we don't want to pay that much. So we'll let you do it and we'll check it out. How's that? I was like, okay, it's garbage. Okay, good. But yeah, I played a few games. Finished Little Nightmares 2, which is fucking fantastic.
We got to talk about that next week.
I really got to go, but I really wanted to hear about that.
Yeah. We'll talk about it next week. No problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
I might have played it by then too.
Cool. Okay. Well, let's do some shout outs, so then we'll call it a show. A little bit shorter because the Baldur's Gate thing ran. Let's say there were some issues.
And it turned out to be wildly entertaining.
Yeah, it was very entertaining. You can catch the VOD if you'd like a little bit later. Zeke, do some shout outs.
Will do. Thank you guys very much for watching. My name is Ezekiel III. You can find me at /Ezekiel_III, just like that, on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. I will be broadcasting I won't be broadcasting on my channel, but I will be on my Guff's channel, my ladies channel, and we're going to be doing some makeup stuff. And this is for sure because we have all the necessary stuff and I don't have any errands to run that might take me, too long and piss me off. So that's definitely happening. Tomorrow, we're back to Indie Week starting at 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to get there and see what randomly gets put on the list, that's what's happening for me. Thank you, JP. Thank you, Co. And thank you, Larian Studios, for letting us rebroadcast your shit.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Co. Do some shout outs.
Hi, everybody. My name is Co. You can find me every day at 8 a.m. ET. I'm currently still kind of knee deep in Valheim. We're going to be wrapping up our big build, but we are actually getting close to that. Then we've got to do the outer walls, the gatehouses, the inside furnishings. And then we got to find and kill the 5th boss. After that, we've got Graveyard Keeper coming up, probably some Neo 2, and maybe even some more Battletech in the cozy streams, Little Nightmares 2 as well. And we might be starting a Dark Souls 3 Cinders mod run at some point in the near future as well. We're also going to be checking out Curse the Dead Gods as we get close to the end of the month. Breath Edge, which is going under full release, and maybe even Subnautica Below Zero if it comes out. So lots of fun stuff on the channel. Hope to see you there. And if I don't see you on the channel, see you here next week for another episode of Drop Frames.
Cool. We got more Drop Frames coming up here in about 25 minutes. Myself, Elspeth, and Luxie are going to watch the Nintendo Direct, which is, I think, scheduled for about 50 minutes, and then recapping everything that they showed there. That VOD will be up on YouTube if you want to watch that later. What are we doing tomorrow? I'm not quite sure. On Friday, we'll be jumping into Persona 5 Strikers. That most likely will be a full playthrough of that, as I think it clocks in about 40 hours. So we'll definitely be talking about that next week. And then we'll see where we go from there. So, yeah. On next week's Drop Frames, Sips is going to be joining us to talk about all the things Sips does. Dadcraft, and I think Sips kind of plays anything and everything. Yeah, dad stuff. So I'm excited to have him on the show. And then I think we have a couple other guests lined up, but not confirmed just yet. Reading the Drop Frames chat today. So we'll probably announce those in the future once we get all that stuff locked in. But that'll do it for us this week. Thanks everyone for joining us. My stream's not going offline because we are going to do the Nintendo stream, but I think Co and Zeke's are going to be going offline as well. Co, you're back later tonight for Valheim, right?
Yes, sir. 6:30 p.m. tonight should be more Outer Wall and Gatehouse work.
There you go. And Zeke, you're doing makeup stream. What time is that starting?
Yep. It's about an hour and a half, something like that. Kind of loose, but yeah, it's on twitch.tv/ClassyKatie, all one word.
Cool. All right. Go check it all out. We'll see you guys next week for another episode of Drop Frames with Sips. We're out. Bye-bye.